So this is your control panel. So it's a 12-volt control panel. So when you come in, what you want to do is you want to knock your master switch on, which is the bottom right hand button. So this will turn on power of 12 volt and it'll knock the power off as well. So when you hit it, the lever come up off, or you can press it once and it will come on. If you're hooked up on mains hookup at home, charging the van, or on a site, you'll have this little icon here which indicates a mains hookup lead, which means that you're getting 230 mains voltage. Above you can view the level of your battery 1, which is always your vehicle battery, and battery 2, which is your leisure battery. The leisure battery is getting a false reading there at 13.7 volts because the charger is on, because it's hooked up. So unhook the vehicle to get a true reflection of your leisure battery. At the top you've got your water levels, so S1 fresh water, R1 waste. So you can see the waste's empty and the fresh has got 33% of water in it. At the bottom here on the left hand side you do have your temperature, so 20 degrees inside the vehicle. Master switch for your lights, this has got to be on, and they all are individually switched around the vehicle. The awning light on the outside of the van, and you've got the pump, so making sure you've got enough water on board first. You can turn your pump on, which will pressurise the water to the taps, toilet and shower. To work your Aldi heating and hot water system, switch on here. Press menu, and at the top you can adjust the temperature that you want the motorhome inside to reach. So that's 27.5 degrees we've got it set at now. This can go all the way to 5 degrees or all the way up to 30 degrees. So it's just how hot you want the inside of the vehicle to be. And you can adjust that by pressing the plus and the minus. Below you've got your hot water. So if you didn't have any hot water on board, or any water on board should I say, you'd have that off. Halfway it'll run the heating and hot water together, or you can put it on what's known as the boost setting, which is a full black bar there. So it'll prioritise the hot water first before circulating the heat around the vehicle and heating the motorhome up. But we want it to run together, so we'll have it half bar, so it's going to heat the motorhome and heat the water up together. Here you have your electric, so you've got the electric off. So if you weren't on electric you wouldn't have it on, you'd use gas, which is the bottom one, which you'd use if you're wild camping. But if you're on a site you'd use electric. So you've got 1 kilowatt, which is 750 watts, 2 kilowatts, which is 1500 watts, and 3000 watts. You can run the electric and gas together should you be away in the winter and it's really cold for the first 20 minutes or so, then turn the gas off. So when it's not green it's off, and allow the electric to continue to heat the vehicle. 3 kilowatts might be too high on some sites. It might just be 2 kilowatts on most sites in the UK. Smaller CL sites abroad you may have to turn it down to 1. Just depends on what you're running at the same time, so don't overload the motorhome. And then you can program timers and things, but I'll keep it nice and simple. But if you ever need to reset it, you click reset and you can reset the control panel. So you'll have to go back in, select your temperature, your water, your energy source all again. But that's how you use your Aldi heating and hot water control panel. So this switch here is your wastewater tank heater. So if you're away and it's potentially going to freeze overnight and the temperature is going to drop, turn this on before you go to bed and it will stop the wastewater from freezing in the tank underneath the vehicle. However, when you're not using the vehicle, make sure the wastewater and the fresh water and all water systems are drained down to avoid frost damage. So to operate this type of Dometic fridge, where you have a separate freezer box to your large fridge, the control panel can be found in the middle. You've got a button here on the far left hand side which turns the fridge off completely, and when you've got it off it's always best practice that you leave the doors open. So underneath the door you've got a little toggle that goes in there, and it means that you can have the door left open so it can ventilate when storing, so that you're not going to come back to smells because the air's been trapped in your fridge. So getting on to using it, so you turn it on. The first square button is your source selector, and you'll notice that A is lit up there, and A stands for automatic energy selection. So it picks the best source available to the motorhome at any one time, and it will always prioritise mains 230 volt. So if I unhook the vehicle, because I've got a gas bottle on, it'll switch over to gas by itself and self-ignite. Or if I was to put the keys in the ignition and start the engine, it would go over to the battery setting, which is a feed from the engine only when it's running. So it doesn't come off your leisure battery. It's only designed to be used as travel mode, where you've either been on one site and you're ready to drive from one site to another site with your shopping and freezer full, or you've come from home and you've pre-chilled it. You put your shopping in the night before, and now you're ready to drive off. It's all down to temperature. All it's going to do is act like a giant cool box until you arrive and hook the vehicle back up or go on to gas. Note with the automatic selection, it does wait 20 minutes before going onto gas from battery. It's a safety feature in case you forgot to turn your gas cylinder off. It will wait 20 minutes. So in this case, all you need to do is press a square button and move it and manually select the source you need. This is your temperature, so 5 being the coldest. So when pre-chilling with nothing in, have it on 5. Knock it down once you put your shopping in, because sometimes it can just be too strong and freeze the shopping. And then this stops the control. So this stops the control panel from freezing up. So because it's between the fridge and the freezer, it's got a little heater underneath, and it stops condensation forming in the LCD display on the fridge. So in this motorhome, you've got the new FetFed induction hob. So it includes one mains 230 volt induction, which you can turn around here, but you'll need a special pan to work the induction. And then if you weren't hooked up, you've got 2 gas to use. So you can operate 2 gas hobs if you didn't have mains 230 volt. But if you did, use the induction. So just get yourself one sized induction pan for your induction hob. Underneath, you've got your grill. And underneath, you've got your oven. Underneath here, you've got your mains 230 volt RCD trip. So if you didn't think the vehicle was receiving power, the best way to check is tripping the van. The van trips, you've got power. If it doesn't, you're not receiving power. And then you've got your MCB. So if anything trips out here, try here before you try your main site. And in this corner, you've got your gas taps. So you've got 5 gas taps. So you've got the fridge, the boiler, the cooker, the hob, and the barbecue point. So what you'll want to do is, if there's any problems with gas, turn the bottle off to be safe, because it's a lot safer isolating the source. These are mainly for when the vehicle is annually habitation serviced. A technician will test each individual gas appliance on board, just to make sure that it's all working as it should. Catch on the cupboard, so push this in, you'll be able to open the cupboard door, and you've got your slide out cutlery tray, slide out racks, sink cover there, making sure the pump's on. You'll be able to get a pressurised flow of water, and this is hot water there coming through now. It's red hot. And above, you do have a TV aerial fitted to this van. So as standard, they come with a TV aerial. You've got a booster on there. If you're ever struggling to get a TV signal, what you need to do is you need to adjust the aerial. So loosen this nut off, push this stem up, tighten, and turn this black lever on the bottom. It spins round in your hand, and what that does is it directs the aerial on the roof and tilts it slightly so that it can get a better signal. But best to pull it back in before you travel and tighten. But what I would personally do is look where other motorhomes and caravans are pointing on your site and point yours in the same direction, because then you don't have to mess on with the aerial too long. Storage in the cupboards on both sides above the lounge. So if you wanted to make your lounge seat into a travelling seat, what you'll need to do is remove the cushions, lift this board up and put the catch on, just so it keeps this section out so someone has a footwell. Use your base cushion here and your backrest there, and then you do have a travelling seat, clips in there, and you've got a forward facing travelling seat, and you've got exactly the same on the other side. But on the other side you do just need to lift up this board so that you get a backrest just in here for your back cushion. So to fold the seats down in the cab, because this is an A class and has a drop down bed above it, you need to fold these seats down. So on either side of the seat, whether it's this side or this side, you can both, if you turn here, so pull back, slide the base cushion forward. What you'll be able to do is now pull the bed down, otherwise you'll not get the bed down with. So take the seat belt off, pull it down, and it'll go into the cab, and there you have another double bed. You've got safety nets if you're putting children in, which clip onto the hooks on the ceiling on either side, and you do have a light, so you just touch here and bring the light on. So safety nets clip up here, clip onto these 3 studs down the bulkhead, and then when you finish with it, take your pillows off. You can leave your bedding on and you can push it back up, and always make sure you put your safety seat belt on. When storing, it's probably a good idea, especially over the winter, if you just bring the bed down just so the air can circulate on top of the mattress. And the maximum permitted weight is 250 kilograms on this drop down bed. So in the toilet area, to operate the toilet, ensure the pump's on, press the blue button which gives you your freshwater flush from your freshwater tank. So flush, small amount of flush. Before you use it, open the blade, grey handle on the pedestal of the toilet to the right. Use the toilet, give it a good flush after use, and then close the blade. When the cassette indicates it's full, on the bottom corner of the toilet at the back here, you've got a green icon. This will start to slowly turn red until it goes solid red. When it's red, it means that the toilet is full and you've got to take it out the outside the van, empty it, rinse it and replenish it with chemical. Heated towel rail here with a bleed valve should you ever need to bleed the system. That's a bleed valve on the top, so that gets nice and warm. Hanging rail, toothbrush holder, toiletry cabinet, lights, so you've got under counter lights and the main light on the ceiling, along with a skylight that you can open. Push plug, so you've got to push it in, and again your hot water system's working here with a large toiletry cabinet with a toilet roll holder in underneath the sink. Across from us you do have your shower cubicle, so make sure the shower screens are tied back when you travel, just so that they can't cause any damage. You've got the duct board in there for bearing weight when you are not using the shower. That needs to come out to allow the shower doors to close. And always make sure that when you are winterizing the van, you unscrew the shower head from the shower hose, just so no water can sit in this pipe and potentially freeze and cause any damage to the pipe or the water system of the vehicle. And unscrew it and lie it in the tray, just so that the water does escape, leaving all the mixer taps throughout the van open. So shower, hand basin, kitchen sink, fresh and waste outside, and then you would drain your boiler, which we'll get onto further in the video. So underneath the bed, don't pull this handle. This handle is only for that holds the mattress in at the bottom, so it's not a lift up handle. so don't pull it because you'll rip it off the wood. But if you lift this bottom section of the bed up, you've got some storage either side, and then you've got drawers storage at the front. So you can open the drawers at the front. You've got storage on either side of the bed, so a wardrobe or hanging rail. Your header tank's in here for your Aldi, so there's a little expansion tank in there with coolant. Always run the coolant system up first because it's an expansion tank, same as your engine tank. You might think the coolant's low. Run it up to temperature first because it will expand, it pressurizes. So make sure you always run it up before you top it up. If however, you run it up and then you are still noticing it's low, just let it cool down first before you then top it up. And they recommend 6 different grades or 6 different types of manufacturers of coolant that Aldi approve, which is 1 grade. So check the website. You can buy it from us, any other caravan place, or you can buy an equivalent grade that they recommend to top your system up. And every 5 years they do recommend that the system is fully drained off and replenished with AdBlue, with Aldi chemical, should I say, not AdBlue, to allow the system, because obviously the coolant's heating up, cooling down, heating up, cooling down, it's going to lose its antifreeze properties. So that's why they recommend for the pump and everything else that it's good practice to replace the coolant every 5 years. Storage in here. Lights, you've got reading lights with the switch on the side and a USB, so you can plug your phones, iPads in there. And you do have a little shelf here, so you can put your phones on there when they're on charge. This side you will just have another wardrobe. Large skylight with a winder to open this. Make sure all skylights and windows are closed when travelling. And you do have a TV in the bedroom on this particular vehicle. So not on the model, it's just on this particular van. There's tellies in the front and the back. It's up to you when you purchase one of these vans whether you have where you put your telly, because it'll not come with a TV. So this customer has asked us to fit a Truma Aventa air conditioning unit. So in the cupboard you've got a fuse spur which you need to turn on. So turn on the fuse spur. It'll only work when you're on mains connection, so you've got to be hooked up for this to work. Get the remote, press the blue button. This will flash red, which means it's on. So it'll flash, give it a minute, and it'll start to come on. There you are. Just the temperature here, so 16 being the coldest. The modes, you've either got cooling, heating, auto or recirculation, but when it starts to heat, it does. So what it'll do is, when it goes to heat, there will be a time where it stops, because it can't start to cool the aircon unit down and then start to heat it, because what will happen is it will crack the compression tank inside, so you've got to wait for it to cool. It'll still blow all the excess cold air out, and then it'll stop like it does now, and it started again, and it'll start to heat. So you can adjust the temperature to the max of 31 degrees via the aircon unit. Fan speed, you've got 1 fan or all fans, so you've got a fan setting there, and then underneath you can adjust timers and things. If the remote ever flashes with the spanner setting in here, it just means it needs resynced, so you just press and hold the spanner on the remote to the aircon unit until it starts flashing. And then you do have the lights on it, so if you want to put the lights on, this button here will turn the lights on and off. And then it does give a little bit of time and it'll turn itself off. So there's a little overrun on there on the aircon unit, and that is a Truma Aventa air conditioning unit. So located in the garage is your Aldi compact 3020 boiler. So this boiler needs to be drained down in the winter, and stop the water from freezing because it holds 10 litres of water along with heating the vehicle. So this here is a antifreeze frost valve. So what that'll do is at 3 degrees, when the vehicle's not in use, it will automatically drop the water. So there's a little button, which is this side, which you'll feel where my finger is, facing opposite way, which will pop out. That'll allow the water to drain directly out underneath the vehicle. When you are not using it, it's always recommended to manually open this valve, and to do so you just turn that diamond on the top the other way. The button this side will pop out and it will drain out all the water. Then you'll be able to leave all your taps throughout the van open, your fresh and your waste tap outside the van open, so that no water can sit in any pipes or the boiler or the taps and cause any damage to the cartridge in the tap, any pipe lines or any tanks or the boiler itself. However, never become fully reliant on this releasing the water itself. So either manually do it yourself, or once it has done it, just open the top valve. So all you need to do is turn it and it'll start to drain the water directly out underneath the van, and to stop it you turn the diamond the other way and push the button in. It'll pressurise, and then that's it pressurised. When you come to reuse it, just close this. If this doesn't stay shut, just put the heating on without the hot water first. This area will get warm for 15-20 minutes. You'll be able to push the button in, it'll stay in. Fill the vehicle with water, pump on, cold side the tap first, pressurised flow of cold water, turn to the hot side, it'll cough, splutter, make all sorts of noises until you get a pressurised flow. Then the system is primed. Do one tap, then do them all, and then you're ready to go for the season. So underneath the opposite bench seat, which is behind the passenger seat, you do have your main leisure battery, which is a 100 amp hour leisure battery with the main leisure battery fuse just in here. So there's a fuse in this holder, which is your main leisure battery fuse. You've also got your distribution board for your 12 volt appliances, so I would carry some spare fuses with you. They are listed what does what and what amperage they are, so just carry an assortment pack with you. If a fuse does go, you can replenish the fuse. There's a little picker there, pull the fuse out, check it, put a new one in. And you've got your battery charger here as well. Underneath this seat there's a switch. This switch is for the heated floor. So the heated floor just takes the chill off the floor. It's not as good as a household heated floor, however it will mean that it'll take the chill off the floor, which means you can walk on the floor barefoot opposed to having socks or slippers on a morning, just so that the floor doesn't get warm. But it's not as good as your household because it's just a low powered electric heated floor. It's nothing to do with the Aldi system or high voltage power. It's just low wattage electric heated mats underneath the floor. So this is the TV working on satellite. So the customer has took his satellite off his part exchange vehicle and put it on his new vehicle. So this is working on satellite, and the back telly as well is also on satellite. So you can see there that I'm selecting satellite and the telly is on.